showing their true colors.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situation motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
He doesn't think about American financial situation or anybody. What do you say to that?
I believe that the nuclear warfare is pretty important, and I feel like if that's his main thing to not have us blown up, or like that enemies have that's pretty important.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think most Americans would think that's important. But do you think saying he doesn't care about Americans' financial situation?
He was more concerned about the nuclear situation and that they're trying to push it that way.
So you believe that? You don't think that's what he meant?
No, I think he's very concerned about the American people.
Let's pause here. He just said he doesn't. What makes you think otherwise?
And I feel like the nuclear situation is very important to look at too.
And you?
I agree with that. Yeah.
And what do you think about what's going to happen in November?
I think there's going to be some changes, but sad thing is I think that this country is being split apart in different ways. There's a lot of people that want unification, and unfortunately the people on the right and the left are very loud, whereas the middle line, we need to come together and show them that they are less what matters and what we matter is more important.
You think that'll happen in November?
I don't know, I can only hope.
She just gave us so much there, didn't she? First, saying POTUS cares about us, foolish.
Trump discloses hundreds of millions of dollars in trades in the first quarter of 2026. Do you see that chart? This is really important. But here in 2026, when we have all these concerns and obvious breadcrumbs pointing towards insider trading, that his portfolio has been insanely active. Just look at the weekly number of transactions there. They say financial disclosures for U.S. President Donald Trump showed hundreds of millions of dollars worth of transactions involving securities in major American companies. Oh, which companies, you might ask, including NVIDIA, Palantir, Paramount, Boeing, just in the first 3 months of 2026. They also show transactions involving Tesla, Apple, Meta, Visa, Citi, Qualcomm, and GE Aerospace.
Not only are his trades screaming, howling insider trading, but when he announced the U.S. and Iran had very good and productive conversations just moments after threatening to strike power plants in the country. If you can, please become a paid channel member to support this independent work, or head to the link in the description box below where you can support the channel for the price of a cup of coffee a month. Thank you. Trump's brokerage account spent that same day buying a sweep of petroleum and gas stocks, including Phillips 66, ExxonMobil, and Chevron, along with defense and aerospace names like Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics, the companies that stood to profit if the war dragged on. That's via Fortune. Then there's the lawsuits.
It's got to be the greatest heist in American history. A direct transfer of billions of your taxpayer dollars directly into the bank account and the pockets of Donald Trump, all dressed up as a settlement of a lawsuit in which Donald Trump is both the plaintiff and also the defendant. It would be a maneuver that could nearly triple his net worth. The New York Times, citing 3 people familiar, reports that in the coming days, Trump's Department of Justice may pay out $10 billion or more to Donald Trump to settle his lawsuit against the IRS. Trump filed that suit back in January, saying the agency should have done more to prevent the leak of his tax returns during the 2020 presidential campaign. The president, in effect, sued himself for more than $10 billion, or he sued the government he controls. $10 billion, by the way, is nearly the entire annual IRS budget.
As CNBC would write, President Donald Trump, his 2 eldest sons, and the Trump org dropped their $10 billion suit against the IRS, a Miami federal court filing would show. In exchange, the DOJ is creating a $1.8 billion fund to settle claims by people who allege they are victims of so-called lawfare. I mean, this is just absurd.
The New York Times is reporting this afternoon that President Trump is moving to demand that the Justice Department financially compensate him for the various federal investigations into him. What exactly does he want? Nearly $250 million, $230 million to be exact. The Times is reporting that the president filed complaints related to the investigation into possible connections between his 2016 campaign and Russia, as well as the 2022 case around classified documents, where the president reportedly alleges the FBI violated his privacy by searching his Mar-a-Lago property.
The Times put it rather bluntly. The situation has no parallel in American history, as Mr. Trump, a presidential candidate at the time, was pursued by federal law enforcement and eventually won the election, taking over the very government that must now review his claims. It is also the starkest example yet of potential ethical conflicts created by installing the president's former lawyers atop the DOJ. But then him saying this?
I don't think about Americans' financial situation.
The fact of the matter is, it's honest. He doesn't.
The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation.
What'd you make of that?
Yeah, that's bull crap.
I think that's a true statement. Because of course he's not thinking about us at all.
I did vote for Trump. Seemed like a lot different, in the beginning. I'm not fully against everything, but more currently with the way things are going, I don't agree with. I don't think we should be in this war.
He doesn't care about our situation. He doesn't. He's just here for pride and ego. He's not lying, and he proves it. Not only that, but also like food stamps and other stuff. He does not care about our financial situation. He cares about giving himself a name.
When he says that he's not thinking about Americans' financial situations, what do you make of that?
I think sometimes he comes across, he doesn't always come across, he's a little raw, a little rough around the edges. So just because he says something in a certain way, I don't think he means that he doesn't care about people. I don't believe that for a minute.
I mean, I think that when you're someone who grew up with a certain amount of money, you're going to be out of touch. You're going to live in a completely different reality than other people. When you have no idea what it's like to actually have to work for $1, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Of course, the American pockets don't mean anything to you.
And if one were to think, wow, he really fucked up, maybe he should change course. No.
That's right. That's a perfect statement. I'd make it again.
But you can imagine how many people stop the soundbite I don't think about America's financial situation. So what's your response to that framework?
It's very simple. When people hear me say it, everybody agrees.
No one agrees. The people who do agree have a lot in common with these two. So what changed?
Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again.
The word affordability is a Democrat scam.
We will make America affordable again.
I don't want to hear about the affordability.
One of my top priorities will be to quickly defeat inflation and make America affordable again.
Affordability is a hoax that was started by Democrats.
Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again.
They use the word affordability. It's a Democrat hoax.
Hey, by the way, the same day, the Labor Department reported that last month, inflation in the U.S. accelerated at its fastest rate in 3 years, and gas reached more than $4.50 a gallon. That's via the Times once more. Barrett Marson, seen here with his son, talking about how he and his little one are divided politically, is a Republican strategist in the state of Arizona. He told Erica L. Green that the comment was a truth bomb from Trump, akin to the president's well-known claim he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue without losing political support. Pick almost any topic to do with cost of living, the economy, etc., and you'll see that under Trump, everything is going up. A new CBS News YouGov poll found 27% of respondents approved of how Trump is handling inflation, dipping below his previous low of 31% in April. The approval rating dropped even among Republicans, from 74% in March to 63% in the new poll. The survey also found that more than 3/4 of respondents say their income is not keeping up with inflation. But then she also brings up how the nuclear warfare is very important. First off, tip of the hat, because you're buying the talking point from this guy.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year.
We must not forget, per CNN, in March, the U.S. intelligence community assessed that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. In June, the Trump administration nevertheless launched airstrikes targeting Iran's nuclear program. And today, it might strike Iran again over its nuclear ambitions, this time despite Donald Trump having assured repeatedly that those June airstrikes had obliterated its program. Jeffrey Lewis of the James Martin Center for Non-Proliferation Studies at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies would state unequivocally, there was no evidence that Iran was close to a nuclear weapon. The outlet printed, since the first Trump admin withdrew from the international agreement with Iran to halt enrichment in 2018, Iran had stopped at the intermediate step of 60% enrichment in its production of uranium and had not proceeded to the 90% required for bombs. In short, Iran having a nuclear weapon, it just doesn't add up to anybody. Then there's this thought process of saying both sides are bad, the left is loud, the right is loud, we need to show them that they matter less, we matter more, yada yada. I despise this line of thinking.
Corporate greed is ruining the environment and destroying the middle class. Vaccines have been turning us gay, and I just don't really like brown people.
We want to remake society into a more equitable place where people's needs are met because we already know there's enough wealth in the system and infrastructure in place to do so. We want to remake society into a white, Christian, theocratic ethno-state where we can discriminate against anyone that isn't part of that group. Well, these things are the same to me.
So as a general rule, the problem with the both sidesing an issue is that you never actually treat them equally. One side always comes out of it looking better. And the position that it favors, that it advantages, is usually the one that is most closely associated with the status quo. It's because looking at it from both sides usually takes the form of critique, of attack. It focuses on the negatives. As with that example from Team America World Police, it focuses on the fact that the left are pussies and the right are dicks. And that sort of negativity breeds skepticism and leads to inaction. And inaction benefits the status quo. It benefits the people who are already in power because we don't have the energy or desire to change things. It's all going to suck anyway. And so I'd add here that there is a bias. That is the bias in the act of both sidesing an issue. Because taking the position that all of the options on the table are bad is implicitly supporting the one that's already on the table.
Because centrism is being stuck in the middle and thinking that you are the morally superior one because you say both sides are bad. That latter part is true to a certain extent. The problem is the centrists don't see it. They look left, they look right, and they see the same issue. Leftists look left and look right and see which one can lead us to liberation, which one can call out genocides, which one will really have the political power to say we need to build a united front where a rising tide lifts all ships, where we can all be equitable, where we can all live in a just society, where social justice is a thing, climate change is treated, and really we could have government work for us. Whereas the other side wants to build a Christian nationalist ethno-state where they not only imprison and deport anybody who is black and or brown, but also they kill them. How someone can see that these two are similar is insane to me, but that is also centrism.